be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes, and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but I'm okay with it because
your time is
I think we're going to do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now to the...
Trump, I'll give you my presidential hat. Presidential seal on it.
You want to autograph it?
Oh, sure I'll autograph it.
Huh?
Yeah.
You remember your name?
I don't remember my name. I'm slow.
You're old part. You're an old part.
Yeah, I know, man. I'm an old guy.
And you're an old part.
I know you would know about that.
What?
About being old.
Oh, I know.
All right.
I'm a young timer.
He reminds me of the guys I grew up with. There was always one in the neighborhood.
Yeah. Well, I'm the only one.
There you go, man. I need that hat.
You want my autograph?
Hell no.
You know my name. Come on.
I ain't going that far.
Yeah. You said you would do a selfie. There he goes. Hey, I'm proud of you now.
He will sign a national abortion ban.
It's a lie. I'm not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban.
Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor.
What she says is an absolute lie.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Nowhere in America is a woman carrying a pregnancy to term and asking for an abortion.
The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mothers.
Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy. We're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars if I get elected. Now, if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath.
Let's remember Charlottesville. There were fine people on each side.
Very fine people on both sides. And I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally.
Tim Walz and I are both gun owners. We're not taking anybody's guns away.
Let us finally pass an assault weapons ban and universal background checks and red flag laws.
Watching very carefully. Evening, my friend. Now, critics, Trey, said that tonight's debate was overwhelmingly one-sided, thanks in large part to the live fact-checking of one of, but not both, of the candidates. For those of you keeping score at home, fact checks on Trump, 5. I counted 6, but we'll say 5. Harris, bupkis, nothing. Now, there were several claims she made that were not fact-checked by ABC, like that police died on January 6th, didn't happen. Trump's bloodbath comment, totally taken out of context. Fine people on both sides, that was obviously debunked. How about Trump's support for Project 2025? The moderators had to know that wasn't true. To say nothing of Harris's claims on Trump's stance on IVF, they missed a chance on that. They also missed a chance to question her on her gun bans and mandatory buybacks. That Mr. Trump, she claimed, disparaged the military, and that no active U.S. military were in a combat zone. That, too, is not true. Online, well, the media was out.
But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says execution after birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And
There's no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born.
Oh, great. Another biased moderator. I guess that makes this a 3 versus 1. She's lying. He never said it's legal in any state for babies to be executed. He simply said Kamala endorsed someone who wants to make baby execution legal. That is 100% true. Here's the proof.
Boy, if a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother. So I think this was...
It's up to the American people.
Vice President
stop
Harris.
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president.
This is the one that weaponized, not me. She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head because of the things that they say about me. If I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country.
Jews will not replace us!
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Are you willing to condemn white supremacists and militia groups?
Proud Boys, stand back and stand by.
Please rise for the horribly and unfairly treated January 6th hostages.
There'll be a lot of pardons and commutations of January 6th defendants.
Yes, absolutely.
You tell your supporters now, no matter what, no violence.
And it's going to be a bloodbath.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 56 days. And I want to talk about the peaceful transfer of power, which, of course, we all know is a cornerstone of our democracy, and the role of a president in a moment of crisis. Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than two.
He just glosses over the fact that he sent out tweets during the riots, but the tweets that he sent out paint a very clear picture of somebody that doesn't want violence. The opposite of what the media portrayed.
2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
Regret? What did he do exactly? You're acting like he did something, like he incited violence. That is fucking bullshit. He didn't incite nothing.
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on. Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace.
All right, this guy who suspiciously seems like a Fed orchestrated the entire January 6th riot. Now, everybody that was at January 6th got a record, and they were in prison for months. Some of them are still in prison to this day. But for some reason, they wouldn't charge this guy who escalated and started the entire thing, the whole insurrection, supposedly. But they would not charge him. Eventually, they charged him for a year probation, but that's only after outrage. This clip I'm about to show you is hard to find on YouTube. Very hard. They censor it, and anytime you show it, they always put a label that you're a conspiracy theorist, that this whole race situation is a conspiracy theory, and it's not true. And they put like a little warning label on the YouTube video. It's insane.
I'm going to put it out there. I'm probably going to go to jail for it, okay? Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. What? No! Peacefully. Fed.
But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning, oh, I'm surprised you're not talking about the border yet. That's because she knows what a bad job they've done. What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle. They took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask you.
You might ask her that question.
You were the president. You were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
Regret? What did he do exactly? You're acting like he did something, like he incited violence. That is fucking bullshit. He didn't incite nothing.
Yes, or
I
no?
had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying she is fully responsible for what happened. They want to get rid of that tape. It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did their jobs. I wasn't responsible for security. Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker Pelosi, but I do want Vice President Harris to respond here.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th. I was the vice president-elect. I was also an acting senator. I was there. And on that day, the President of the United States incited a violent mob to attack our nation's capital, to desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured, and some died.
Okay, nobody died on January 6th. That was a police officer. One guy died days later because of a suicide, and they try to paint it like he died on January 6th, but he didn't. This is a lie. Kamala is lying. Nobody died on January 6th. Except for the government shooting an innocent Trump supporter. The government setting this whole thing up is what got somebody killed. The government is responsible, not Trump.
And understand, the former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But this is not an isolated situation. Let's remember Charlottesville, where there was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing anti-Semitic hate. And what did the president then at the time say? There were fine people on each side.
He was simply saying that the left wing and the right wing, each side has decent people. He wasn't saying the alt-right were part of those decent people.
Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back. Let's not go back. We're not going back. It's time to turn the page. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking. Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back. Let's chart a course for the future and not go backwards to the past.
Let me just follow up here.
It was a different term, and it was a term that related to energy because they have destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. China now is building a couple of massive plants where they're going to build the cars in Mexico and they think that they're going to sell those cars into the United States with no tax at the border. Let me tell you something to China. If you're listening, President Xi, and you and I are friends, but he understands the way I deal, those big monster car manufacturing plants that you're building in Mexico right now, and you think you're going to get that, you're going to not hire Americans, and you're going to sell the cars to us. No, we're going to put a 100% tariff on every single car that comes across the line, and you're not going to be able to sell those cars. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine, all he does is build car manufacturing plants. He's the biggest in the world.
And this is a common term used, bloodbath, to refer to the market economy as to why it's plummeting. And this is something that politicians use all the time. It's not unique to Donald Trump. This isn't the first time a politician ever used this. They all have, one time or another, used the word bloodbath as a way to refer to the market economy plummeting. It's, again, not unique to Donald Trump. They've all done it. Even Biden, who has condemned him for using that term, has used that term in that way. And what's funny is he was talking about the automobile industry when he was using this term. He wasn't talking about political violence at all. It is literally in the definition for it to be used in this regard.
One Charlottesville. That story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect.
This is the supposed racist speech she's talking about.
Racism is evil, and those who cause violence in its name are criminals and thugs, including the KKK, neo-Nazis, white supremacists, and other hate groups that are repugnant to everything we hold dear as Americans. We are a nation founded on the truth that all of us are created equal. We are equal in the eyes of our Creator. We are equal under the law, and we are equal under our Constitution. Those who spread violence in the name of bigotry strike at the very core of America. 2 days ago, a young American woman, Heather Heyer, was tragically killed. Her death fills us with grief, and we send her family our thoughts, our prayers, and our love. She just started by saying she's going to do this, she's going to do that, she's going to do all these wonderful things. Why hasn't she done it? She's been there for 3.5 years. They've had 3.5 years to fix the border. They've had 3.5 years to create jobs and all the things we talked about. Why hasn't she done it? She should leave right now, go down to that beautiful White House, go to the Capitol, get everyone together and do the things you want to do, but you haven't done it, and you won't do it because you believe in things that the American people don't believe in. You believe in things like we're not going to frack. We're not going to take fossil fuel. We're not going to do things that are going to make this country strong, whether you like it or not. Germany tried that, and within 1 year, they were back to building normal energy plants. We're not ready for it. We can't sacrifice our country for the sake of bad vision. But I just ask one simple question. Why didn't she do it? We're a failing nation. We're a nation that's in serious decline. We're being laughed at all over the world. All over the world, they're laughed. I know the leaders very well. They're coming to see me. They call me. We're laughed at all over the world. They don't understand what happened to us as a nation. We're not a leader. We don't have any idea what's going on. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have wars going on with Russia and Ukraine. We're going to end up in a third world war, and it'll be a war like no other because of nuclear weapons, the power of weaponry. I rebuilt our entire military. She gave a lot of it away to the Taliban. She gave it to Afghanistan. What these people have done to our country, and maybe toughest of all, is allowing millions of people to come into our country. Many of them are criminals, and they're destroying our country. The worst president, the worst vice president in the history of our country.